This is the new Zara Vibrant Leather Bogoss Coco Suede that I recently bought. Pineapple, coconut, sea salt and sandalwood does make it a bit different if you compare it to the original Bogoss Vibrant Leather. So it seems like they kept the pineapple from the OG, but definitely took it in a different direction. I'm gonna try it out for the first time and this will be interesting for sure. But before I begin, I really want to know how you feel about Bogoss Vibrant Leather Coco Suede. Do you think this is a really nice scent or do you dislike it? Let me know in the comments and please drop a like and subscribe for more. So like always, they have the magnetic cap, which is a nice thing, but like always, it's all about the juice. Okay, definitely a very interesting opening and actually an opening I really like. So Bogoss Vibrant Leather Coco Suede, at least based on my very initial first impressions of it, definitely opens up with a bit of fruitiness and a bit of sweetness. However, I do not feel this is as intensely sweet as the OG. And it definitely opens up with a bit of freshness, and I almost feel it's like a super light kind of marine freshness together with a bit of fruity freshness. So if you could imagine a bit of fruity freshness from pineapple mixed with a lighter kind of marine freshness, sort of like that but with a twist. And in less than 3 minutes the whole thing starts to get a bit salty. This is not the most intensely salty scent I put my nose to. However, its freshness after a few minutes is definitely a mix of that lighter kind of marine freshness together with a bit of salty freshness. And the heart of Coco Suede is where I feel its fruitiness definitely gets a bit more intense and a bit more sweet. However, I still do not feel Coco Suede is anywhere near the sweetness, the intense sweetness of the OG. The more Coco Suede goes into the dry run, the more I feel everything that I got in the opening and at the heart of it is amplified and more intense. And the whole thing is fruity with the pineapple. It definitely has a freshness that in a way is a mix of something sort of a salty and a lighter kind of almost marine kind of freshness. It definitely has a bit of fruity sweetness to it, but the biggest difference when this thing goes into the dry run is that you start to pick up on that sandalwood. The sandalwood in Coco Suede, at least to my nose and at least based on my very initial first impressions of it, is definitely of the quite smooth and soft kind. It does ground the whole thing with its woodiness and it sort of helps balance up the fruitiness and sweetness and the freshness, but I do not feel the woody side of Coco Suede is overly intense. So one of the main reasons why I bought this is because this was supposed to have coconut in it. I mean, it says coconut on the box and even cocoa on the actual bottle. However, I think this is one of those fragrances that gives off a bit of coconutty kind of vibes, mainly from the sandalwood. I mean, I absolutely love and obsess about the scent of coconut, and I wish the coconut in here was stronger. However, while it does have soft coconutty kind of vibes to it, I do not feel, at least based on my first impressions of it, that this is overly coconutty. And to my nose, Bogoss Vibrant Leather Coco Suede is mostly about the fruitiness and sweetness from pineapple. It has a nice light and almost velvety kind of freshness to it. The whole thing is a bit salty and all of that is resting upon a base that, at least to my nose, is softly woody in a creamy and smooth way. The pineapple, the sweetness, the salty side of it and that creamy, slightly coconutty kind of sandalwood definitely gives off quite a tropical vibe. The highlight or the main sort of a stars of Coco Suede, at least based on my very initial first impressions of it, is definitely the fruitiness and sweetness from the pineapple. And what I feel is this light and almost airy or silky smooth kind of freshness. Coco Suede is definitely not a loud kind of scent in any way. So like a quick comparison of Coco Suede and the original, I do feel the OG is a lot sweeter and a lot more intense with the pineapple. The pineapple is very noticeable and quite prominent in Coco Suede. However, I do not feel it's as intense, loud and sweet as in the OG. So while it is prominent in Coco Suede, I do feel it's a somewhat sort of a lighter and also fresher version of that pineapple. A key difference between these two is also their fresh sides. The original Bogoss definitely goes in quite a citrusy, fresh way, whereas this has that light, salty and almost light kind of marine kind of freshness. And I also feel that when both of these dry down, the woody base of both is a bit different. The main similarity is definitely the pineapple. So let's quickly go through the vibe, compliments and mass appeal, performance and more. And let's start with the vibe. It's basically a summer freshie with a tropical vibe, almost going into something that could be described like a pina colada. So yeah, this definitely, at least to my nose, is all about summer and sunshine in a bottle, and it definitely has a flirty and fun vibe to it. And when it comes to compliments and mass appeal, I do feel this is quite a mass appealing and very likable fresh and fruity scent. The pineapple here is not overly sweet or overly intense and very likable, and I also feel that its lighter kind of freshness is something most people will enjoy. When it comes to the performance, I really feel I gotta wear it more. However, based on how it sits on my skin and how it stays in the air around me, I don't feel it's a strong fragrance. But at the same time, I do not feel this is something extremely weak. I'm gonna have to update you in a future video, but I'm gonna guess this sort of sits on your skin like most other newer Zara fragrances do. But right now, I'm gonna put the performance somewhere around average or slightly above. When it comes to seasons and occasions, I mean, this is an obvious one. This is basically a tropical kind of freshness with a bit of fruitiness. This is definitely something that leans more towards warmer months. So you can wear Coco Suede throughout the year if you want. However, I do feel the main seasons to use Coco Suede are definitely spring and summer, with a focus on summer. As for occasions, I mean, this is basically a freshie with a tropical vibe to it. So I'm gonna say whenever you're in the mood for such a scent. But I mean, when you're outside under the warm sun and perhaps with a pina colada in your hand. So who is Bogoss Vibrant Leather Coco Suede for? If you're someone who really likes the pineapple of the original and think you would like a somewhat lighter and fresher version of that pineapple together with a different kind of freshness that to my nose is a bit salty and almost sort of a marine-like, then you most likely enjoy this. And if you don't know what the original Bogoss smells like, basically if you're into the scent of pineapple, if you usually enjoy fragrances that are a bit fruity and sweet and also fresh and softly woody, then you will most likely enjoy this. And I think this goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you absolutely dislike the scent of pineapple and usually stay away from fragrances with a bit of freshness to them, then yeah, stay away from this. So let's talk about alternatives, and the main one is obviously the OG Bogoss. The OG, at least to my nose, has a louder kind of fruitiness and sweetness, still with a focus on pineapple though. And it has a different kind of freshness with a focus on citrus. This is a solid choice for someone who enjoys quite intensely fruity, sweet and fresh fragrances. Another alternative for someone who wants a lot more coconut is definitely Le Beau Paradise Garden. To my nose, Le Beau Paradise Garden basically combines green and aquatic freshness with coconut and vanilla, and the whole thing is definitely a bit woody and a bit sweet. If you absolutely love the scent of coconut and want the most intensely fresh version of Le Beau, then this is the one. I did a complete Le Beau comparison on which Le Beau is the best for summer. I'm gonna link to that video somewhere up here and in the description below. So what are my final thoughts on Zara Bogoss Vibrant Leather Coco Suede? I mean, this is one of those scents that just makes me smile. And again, at least to my nose, the main highlight or the main stars of this fragrance is definitely the combination of the fruitiness and sweetness and fruity freshness from pineapple and how it's combined with this salty, almost marine-like kind of freshness. The tropical feel and vibe of this and the silky, smooth and quite light kind of freshness is really what makes this shine. I wish this thing, basically that was the reason why I bought it, I wish this would have a lot more coconut in it. I'm picking up on something lightly coconutty, but unfortunately Coco Suede is not a loud kind of coconut. But even so, what I'm getting here, the fruitiness, sweetness in combination with that lighter kind of freshness is really nice. Scent-wise, I really enjoy Coco Suede, and considering what I paid for it, I think it's worth it for sure. So I really feel I gotta do a proper comparison between these two. Let me know in the comments and drop a like on this video if you want me to do that. However, I know, I mean, the original is a really nice, incredibly affordable fragrance. However, I might actually lean a bit more into this lighter and in a way different kind of tropical vibe of Coco Suede. This is more heavily into the fruitiness and sweetness while this goes in a lighter and more fresh direction, and I actually think I enjoy this direction a bit more. So this is what I want to hear from you. How do you feel about Coco Suede or even the OG? Do you like this fragrance? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. Please drop a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my other videos over there.